Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, January 6th, 2016. I'm Lafern Fraser with the details. Community activists Terry Bono and Andre Foyle, both of Kanawha, were escorted to the Kingstown Magistrates Court today, where they both pleaded not guilty to several charges, including that of trespassing on the Kanawha resort. Magistrate Bertie Pompey heard the matter and read the charges to both defendants that they entered upon the property of the Kanawha resort as trespassers with the intent to annoy. The other charge was that they unlawfully disobeyed the court orders, suit number 507 of 2000 of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. They were both placed on $1,000 bail each with surety. Lawyer K. Bacchus Brown, who was outside the Kingstown Magistrates Court with several other supporters, vehemently rejected the charges and questioned why Bono and Foyle were brought from the Grenadine island of Kanawha in the dead of night at around 2 a.m. She called on the Prime Minister to intervene in the matter.
Well, I call upon the Prime Minister right now to put an end to this charade. When it suited his purpose, he was with the same Terry Bono demonstrating for the same issue. This is 15 years plus hence, and it is time to end this charade. It cannot be a threat for black people in their own country to be walking along a road to gain access to a beach. Where's this mentality coming from? It is time to put an end to it. I do not understand these charges. I call upon the DPP to do the right thing and nolly-cross. It's a popular word where he's concerned. Nolly-cross these charges.
And lawyer for the accused Terry Bono, Bayless Frederick, said the charges brought against his client were pointless and seemingly an act of vindictiveness. The seasoned lawyer said that he would ensure his client is well defended and questioned why he was still given a new charge when he has a similar case pending against him.
Well, the entire set of charges are really eyewash. They have no merit. They cannot be maintained. They can't be proven. There's no such charges as what they are thinking in the context of thing. There is a case number 509 of 2000. It's now nearly 17 years old. And since that case is still before the courts, you can't bring any action. You ought not to bring any action, police or otherwise, on the same facts with respect to the case that is still before the High Court. It's stupid.
Lawyer for Andrew Foyle, Jomo Thomas, also said that he will fight to ensure his client is cleared of the charges.
The first time that he has been arrested, he was arrested on his 76th birthday, and it has certainly created a lot of pain and trauma in his family. His sister is standing next to me, and you would have heard her say that she didn't even get a chance to sleep last night. So it's an important issue, but as I say, we will vigorously defend Mr. Foyle in the court, and we are hoping that after once the trial is completed, once all of the legal submissions are made, we are hoping to vindicate Mr. Foyle's right.
The case was transferred to the Union Island Court to be heard on January 20th. As they celebrate 30 years of providing a strong and reliable social security framework and system to the Vincentian public, the National Insurance Services, the NIS, is urging more persons to take advantage of its services. Speaking at the company's Customer Appreciation Day ceremony on Thursday, Director of the NIS, Reginald Thomas, noted that the organization has experienced growth 48 times more than when they started in 1987.
Have benefit expenses annually of $55,476,093. We have a growth of 691 times the levels that we had in 1987. We now have reserves which secures your pension of $478 million. And that growth in reserves is 8 times what we had in 1987, and we are now boasting total assets of $483,413,303 a 750% growth in assets, or 8 times the levels of assets that we had in 1987.
Thanking the government, board of directors, staff members, as well as all contributors for their partnership and loyalty over the years, Thomas reiterated that the NIS remains committed to providing services which offer a quality life to all Vincentians.
I thank the management and staff on the board of the institution for direction and guidance. And I want to thank too the Honorable Prime Minister, because he has been with us for the last 15 years. He has approved the policies for expansion. He has approved the mechanisms provided by the actuary for the actuarial adjustments to the system. He has approved our contribution to the hospital as it relates to the CT scan, and all of the initiatives that the National Insurance today is very proud of. You, our contributors, assisted us by your contributing towards accomplishing the milestones that we have today.
He further made an open appeal to all pensioners, some of whom were present at the event, to utilize the services being offered at the NIS Golden Years centers.
One at Cane Grove and the one at Black Point. We built them with you in mind. We built them so you can go and learn to play piano music, that you can go to learn to use the computer, that you can learn to knit, that you can learn art and craft, which will enhance your dignity and your quality of life during your retired years.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who also made mention of the Golden Years centers in his keynote address, hinted to the construction of another Golden Years center as part of the NIS 30th anniversary celebrations.
For our 30th anniversary, we have to give another one. We have to give another one somewhere in the center of the island, between Mespo and East St. George, somewhere around there. Well, here's Sister Girl in Dunsey Marquardt. Somebody else saying East St. George, you never know. Anyway, somewhere in between.
And Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said one of his obligations is to keep the NIS sound. He stressed the need for persons not to be fooled by what he terms as propaganda about the NIS.
In Barbados, I just read in the Nation newspaper 2 days ago. I was so surprised. They haven't presented their accounts for the NIS for 7 years. Not only are we up to date, I put it in the Parliament as is required by the law, so that everybody can know whether we had a good year, a not so good year, and we can explain the reasons why we did better or not did as good as we should have done. And this is very important.
While outlining some of the organization's accomplishments, Prime Minister Gonsalves noted that the NIS has grown over the years, even in regards to pension increases, which stood at a minimum of $40 when the NIS started in 1987. He also pointed out increases in the amount of persons receiving benefits, as well as contributing to the NIS.
So in the 16 years, I gave 4. So in the previous 14 years, you got 1 increase. I just want to outline that. And I see Reggie's putting me on the spot and say, well, we have to do something this year. But we would look at the numbers and, we would always be responsible. In 1997, we paid out benefits of $4.5 million. This year we'll be paying out over $59 million. In 1987, when you had 25,281 employees contributing, they contribute $13.6 million. This year, workers will be contributing $61.4 million. And I just want to say this to you, the average annual wage of the contributor in 1987 was just over $5,000. The average annual wage now is over $21,000.
When asked about the growing concerns about measures being taken at the AIA, especially with regard to flights leaving the AIA for the U.S., Chief Executive Officer of the SVG Tourism Authority, Glenn Beach, outlined that these flights will be checked by the United States Transportation Security Administration, or the TSA, adding that chartered flights do not require TSA security checks.
I got this question from somebody who was actually interested in chartering a flight to come down on the 15th from JFK. What's the TSA clearance? For charter flights, you don't need TSA.
You don't.
But TSA should be in here by the end of February to do their checks, because we have to be up and running for them to come and do their security checks. So by the end of February, we've been in contact with them for a while now. So by the end of February, and they're in a hurry to get in here too, because there are two airlines that have spoken to them about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So they said they've been pressured to get in here and do their checks.
Giving somewhat of a timeline of inaugural flights to the AIA for various airlines, which his organization is in contact with, Beach noted that their landing would be dependent on TSA checks.
Lou was speaking to us about November this year. We've made it clear to them that I need them by June, the latest. But that goes back to plane availability, and that's the problem, and that's why it's necessary to make sure you have these negotiations and you have your dates down packed, because as I said before, they don't like to have a plane on the ground. It's a plane on the ground, it's a plane losing money. So we're hoping for JetBlue by June. I am hoping for American Airlines before that, coming out of Miami.
Right.
I'm also hoping for WestJet.
And this is all hinged on TSA is happy with the security checks and all that, right?
Of course, a lot of it would depend on that. TSA will come in. If they're happy with us, we get clearance to go. If not, they tell us what we need to change, what we need to do, what we need to put in place.
Day 3 of the preliminary inquiry into the death of real estate agent Sharlene Graves continued today, January 6th, at the Serious Offences Court, and has been adjourned until January 17th this year. As we hear in this report by Charon Garraway, 2 other witnesses took the stand today and were cross-examined by the accused Vernon Primus, who continued to represent himself in the matter.
It was an emotional day in the Serious Offences Court today, January 6, 2017, as more details were brought out in the case of Sharlene Graves of Enhams, who was brutally killed at her workplace of business, Bijou Real Estate, in the Arnisville area. Her body was discovered drenched in blood with her throat slashed and multiple stab wounds on the morning of November 13, 2015. The first witness to take the stand today was the ex-husband of Sharlene, who fought back tears as he was questioned by senior prosecutor Adolphus Delplesh. He recounted that he was one of the first persons on the scene after getting a call from an employee about Sharlene's death. He outlined that he and Sharlene had a very good relationship, even though they were divorced, and that he was familiar with the remote key, which was found in the bedroom of the accused, Vernon Primus of Vermont, in April 2016. Sharlene's ex-husband also testified that he was able to identify the vehicle, which was found on Wilson Hill near the St. Martin Secondary School, and handed over a spare key to the police. In his cross-examination, Primus questioned if the police had been in possession of the key any time before, but the ex-husband made it clear that he was in possession of the key ever since the vehicle was purchased and not the police. Primus also inquired of the ex-husband if he remembered what the deceased was wearing when she was found, and the divorcee said yes. Primus went on to ask the ex-husband if he remembered what he was wearing the day he saw Graves' body. He replied no. Seemingly happy with the reply given, the accused Primus, who is representing himself in the matter, pointed out that it is strange that the witness couldn't remember what he himself was wearing on the day his ex-wife's body was discovered, but that he could remember what she was wearing. The second witness to take the stand was an employee at Bijou Real Estate who said he knew the deceased for over 12 years and worked with her for some months up to her death. The witness broke down in tears on the stand as he recounted the day when he found Graves's lifeless body as he stepped up upon a table and peered over the door to see her body covered in blood. The witness testified that his body felt weak as he saw Graves on the floor and as she looked dead, and he called someone nearby to call the police. The second witness today also recalled that he was suspicious and concerned when he saw a gash on the wall, what appeared to be a footprint on a piece of furniture, and the air conditioning unit was still left running. He also said that his suspicion peaked when the door to Graves's office was locked, as this was never bolted. The accused Primus questioned the second witness as to the positioning of a desk, but the prosecutor thought that the accused was going on a fishing expedition. Magistrate Rayshon Brown re-emphasized to Primus that the cross-examination must be relevant to the issue at hand. Primus also asked questions as to if the second witness took photographs, to which he said no. He also asked who pried the door open, to which the witness said he did not know as he was too grief-stricken and unable to go back inside. The preliminary inquiry into the death of the real estate agent was adjourned until January 17th. Prosecutor Adolphus Delflesh also mentioned in the court that he is processing an application under the Witness Special Measures Act 2013. Sharon Garraway reporting for SVG Television News.
As the residents of South Central Windward prepare to partake in the Millennium Sustainable Development Project, which was launched here on Tuesday, January 3rd, they're being urged to play their part in ensuring the full implementation and success of the project. The call came from Area Representative and Minister of Rural Transformation, Suboto Caesar, as he outlined the first 4 sustainable goals to be approached through the project, which are climate under the goal of climate action, good health and well-being, zero hunger, and the goal of industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Underscoring the point that climate change is indeed real, Caesar highlighted that residents have in recent times experienced the effect of the growing global phenomena, which has impacted their coastline and even their agricultural produce.
Many farmers today are asking the question, what do we plant? How do we mitigate against so many issues that we have to grapple with on a daily and a weekly basis as a result of climate change? If we shift crops, how do we find new markets? Approximately 2 years ago, where the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines had to expend significant sums to prevent a total collapse of the Windward Highway, that area adjoining to what is known commonly as the drop-off bar. These are many of the issues which will be addressed by the technologists and the scientists who have studied climate change and sea level rise. And I am happy that the citizens and the villagers and the community activists in South Central Windward, that we are steadfast in ensuring that no one goes to the beach to remove sand.
With SVG having already received an award from the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO, for its efforts against fighting hunger and undernourishment, Minister Caesar stated that this stalwart effort must now be reflected through the South Central Windward community.
We receive that award as a nation, but as a constituency, we have to ensure that we play a critical part in ensuring that as we fight the vagaries of climate change, we do not have a reversal of what has been stated globally as a significant achievement. Over the next 90 days, we are going to visit many households and we are going to speak to many technicians in the health sector who work in the villages, and we are going to redraw our baselines as we seek to reduce hunger and undernourishment to zero in this constituency.
Highlighting that many skilled and innovative individuals reside within the constituency of South Central Windward, Minister Caesar further stressed the need for a central place where ideas and innovations can be discussed, which he noted can come through the Millennium Sustainable Development Community Project.
It is now the time for South Central Windward not only to look at these talents and for us to speak about them within the community, but for us to build these ideas, put resources behind them, and take these ideas into the formation of businesses. And we expect in the short to medium term that many of these ideas will grow into mini sectors, into industries, and create an avenue for us to have significant internal increases and improvement in terms of the issue of employment.
The Sandy Bay Disaster Management Committee, in conjunction with the SVG Red Cross Society and FLO, will be hosting a gospel concert in the form of a worship and praise service this Saturday, January 7th, 2017, at the Sandy Bay Primary School complex from 7 p.m. The concert is to provide spiritual upliftment to the people of the area, which was severely impacted by the November 2016 floods. Some of the main acts to perform at this weekend's gospel concert will be Stacy Little, Hayden Belingi, Yavon, Max Instrumental Band, and company churches across North Windward and surrounding areas, including the Ecclesia Gospel Band. Admission is free, and persons willing to make a contribution can do so at the concert.